Hey guys, welcome back to Backrush EDH. Today we're going to be doing a short little video over my favorite commander, Y, and some combos with him. You know, I just love him. But first off, I'd like to thank y'all for getting me to 500 subscribers. Love each and every one of you, so thankful for you. What a blessing you are. Now we can go ahead and apply for, the partnership program with YouTube, the first one anyway. And second off, the Ulalek deck is happening. I hear you people in the comments. I hear you wanting it. I hear you waiting for it. We're going to do an Eldrazi Ulalek deck tech. However, I think I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I think I'm going to go ahead and do a live. We're going to be on Scryfall. We're going to be on Archidec or Moxfield. I haven't decided yet. And we're going to build it live. We're going to go ahead and do a live stream and have it be built on there live. Y'all in the chat suggesting cards, and we'll, hash out what goes into the deck, and then we'll have this built Ulalek deck together that we'll go ahead and post on the channel, and I can do a separate deck tech video after the live, to kind of give it the whole animated look and feel of my normal videos. But let's go ahead and get into my favorite commander. Alright, so you've seen a little glimpse of it in the beginning. My favorite commander is Chatterfang, Squirrel General. I just love squirrels, love them so much. Had some connection to him, and then when Bloomborough finished it off, it was just great. It made me so freaking happy. But let's go over him real quick. You may know about him, you may not, probably do. Chatterfang, Squirrel General, 2 and a green for a 3/3 Squirrel Warrior, legendary creature with Forest Walk. 4 or more tokens would be created under your control. Those tokens plus that many 1/1 green Squirrel creature tokens are created instead. Pay a black, sacrifice X squirrels. Target creature gets +X, -X until end of turn. Now, 2 things about Chatterfang that I have, noticed when playing that I've had to kindly correct some people on. The first one, let's cover just the Forest Walk. If you don't know what it means if your opponent controls a forest, the Chatterfang can't be blocked. So that's why we run Yavimaya, so we give everybody forests. Anywho, if 1 or more tokens will be created under your control, those tokens plus that many 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens are created instead. Now, this is a similar effect to like Peregrine Took. However, it creates, squirrels equal to the number of tokens created, not, 1 squirrel for whatever amount of tokens you created. So like Peregrine Took is like, if you were to make a token, you make 1 more food token, just 1. So if you're to make 3 treasures, you make 1 food token on top of it. Chatterfang is equal to the number. So if you make 3 treasures, you make 3 squirrels, 1 squirrel for each treasure. And then secondly, his other ability, pay a black, sacrifice X squirrels, target creature gets +X, -X till end of turn. So let's say that you have, you got your 1 squirrel out, somebody's got a bop, you don't want them to have that bop. You're going to pay a black, sack a squirrel, target creature gets +X, -X till end of turn, right? So what goes on the stack is actually target creature gets +X, -X till end of turn, right? I've had to correct some people on this. Sacrificing the squirrel is part of the cost, so they cannot respond to it. So if they go to be like, oh, I'm going to, before you do that, I'm going to kill your squirrel, so that way you can't sacrifice it to Chatterfang to then kill my, my Bob. Well, it's like, okay, you can't do that because sacking the squirrel is part of the cost. So before the trigger even goes on the stack, before you even have a chance to respond, the squirrel is gone. Another example of this, you'd be like, you have 45 squirrels, and you have a blood artist, and you got Chatterfang, and they were like, okay, I don't like that blood artist. I want to kill, that blood artist or whatever. This is both equidistant if you start the interaction or if they start the interaction. They could be like, okay, I'm going to target your blood artist with target removal. And then you're like, well, I'm going to respond by sacking all 45 of my squirrels. And since sacking the squirrels is part of the cost, Blood Artists will see all of them die before your ability goes on the stack, at the same time. And then all of the Blood Artist triggers will go on the stack, immediately all at the same time. So you would have removal spell, Chatterfang ability, and Blood Artist triggers all on the stack all at the same time before the Blood Artist gets taken out. It's the same thing with like, okay, I'm going to pay a black, sacrifice all my squirrels. Sacrificing the squirrels is part of the cost, so before they can respond to kill the blood artist triggers are already on the stack. And now let's go over the other 2 squirrels that you could run potentially as a commander that are in my 99. So next up we have Camilla, however you want to say it, the Seed Miser. 1 generic, 1 black, 1 green for a 3/3 legendary creature squirrel warlock with menace. She gives other squirrels you control menace. Whenever you sacrifice 1 or more foods, create a 1/1 green squirrel creature token. Pay 2 forage. Put a 1/1 counter on each other squirrel you control. And if you remember, forage is sacking a food token or exiling 3 cards from your graveyard to kind of pump up all your other squirrels. We have Camilla in the 99 of my Chatterfang deck. 1 for theme, it's a legendary squirrel. Friggin' sick. It also gives all your other squirrels Menace makes more squirrel tokens whenever you sacrifice food. You kind of have to, if you run her as a commander, you want to lean more into like food generation so you can take full advantage of the food sacrifice and the forage ability. But we really like Camila here. She's really nice. We really like her. You could run her as a commander, focus it a little bit more on food, or you could have her in the 99 of your squirrel deck. And then the other, and my personal favorite of the two, is Hazel of the Root Bloom. 2, a black and a green for a 3/5 legendary creature squirrel druid. We can tap her, pay 2 life, tap X untap tokens you control at X mana in any combination of colors. So just any token, treasures, clues, food, squirrels, soldiers, whatever. At the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. If that token is a squirrel, and create 2 tokens that are copies of it. So we use Hazel for some mana generation. We use Hazel to make more squirrel tokens. We already have squirrel tokens on the board. But one of my favorite things to do with her is to run Saw in half to, get some of our value pieces like our Blood Artist or our Prosperous Innkeeper or whatever it may be to make tokens of that and just keep generating more and more tokens. Valley Rock Caller is also another good one that you can just hit with Saw in half, make 2 Valley Rock Callers, and then with Hazel, make 2 more because it's a squirrel. We just really love Hazel for the extra mana generation, the extra token generation. I think this one fits very well into the 99 of my squirrel deck, my Chatterfang deck specifically. You could run her as a commander, which I did for a little bit. We ran her as like just a general's tokens deck, just have a bunch of tokens, different kinds of tokens, tapping them for big mana, playing big spells, big creatures, making tokens of those big creatures through various things. She's a really good card for your squirrel commander, or she could just be in the 99 of your squirrel deck. So now we're going to go over a couple of the combos that I like to run with my commander Chatterfang. First, we'll start with the Pitiless Plunderer combo line. So requirements are have Pitiless Plunderer out, a squirrel out, and Chatterfang out. That's all you need for this first one with no drainers. All right, so what this gets you is being able to infinitely wipe the board. So just remove all the creatures on the board. So what we're going to do, let's say, for example, we have, a creature on our opponent's side of the board that's a 3/3, just for the example. So what we're going to do is first pay a black mana to activate Chatterfang's ability, targeting that 3/3 creature, right? Sacking the squirrel to give that creature +1/-1 until end of turn. Pitiless will trigger at the same time, making a treasure token. So that'll be on top. And then Chatterfang will make you a squirrel. So resolve Pitiless, making the treasure, making the squirrel. So now the board state is you have, Chatterfang, a new squirrel, a new treasure, and Pitiless, and Chatterfang's ability to give +1/-1 until end of turn to the 3/3 on the stack. That's what's on the stack right now, is just his ability. So we'll go ahead and spend a treasure to activate his ability again, sacking the squirrel to give that creature +1/-1 until end of turn, and then it'll trigger again, making us a treasure, making us another squirrel. So now we have 2 Chatterfang abilities on the stack. We'll go ahead and keep doing this for every creature on the board that we want to get rid of, until we get up to whatever its toughness is. Now, if we add in a drainer, as to say like a Blood Artist effect or a Nadir's Nightblade effect or something like that, just a drain effect in general that either hits one opponent or multiple opponents, we can just continuously stack the Chatterfang abilities on top of one another without letting them resolve and drain the entire table. All right, next we're going to be covering the Warren Soul Trader lineup. So this is kind of similar. We get Warren Soul Trader out. Warren Soul Trader reads, pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, create a treasure token, which will then create us a squirrel token with our Chatter Boy. So obviously you can pay like, 5, 10 life, whatever you want into it, and keep, just keep doing this, making treasures. So you get a bunch of mana. It's a big off mana stuff. With a drainer, it also drains the table. You can, you take yourself down as well as everybody else down. But if you got something like Penguin Took out, that when you make a treasure and, when you make the squirrel, you can make, actually, it would be with Penguin Took, you would make a treasure and a food, and then Chatterfang would make you 2 squirrels if you ordered the triggers that way, or replacement effects, or however you want to call it. But basically, then you can use your treasures to, crack the food tokens. You pay 2 life, make 2 foods, and all that other stuff. And then you got the 2 treasures, gives you life positivity. But what we really like with this is Warren Soul Trader, Chatterfang, a squirrel, and like Prosperous Innkeeper. So that way, whenever the squirrel comes in, you gain the life right back and you go ahead and drain the table out that way. And that's going to do it for this video. Stay tuned. Look for that live. Whenever I go live, we're going to be doing this community Ulalek deck. I hope you all are excited. Have a good one. And as always,